There is a mistake that kills more small businesses than bad products, bad timing, or lack of money combined. It is trying to sell to everybody. It sounds like a good strategy. The more people you target, the more customers you can get, right? Wrong. Completely wrong. And by the end of this episode, you are going to understand exactly why, and you are going to know how to identify the specific group of people who are most likely to buy from you, find them, and speak to them in a way that makes buying feel like the obvious next step. Welcome back to the Business Foundation series. I am glad you are here. If you are new to this channel, this is a no fluff, step by step guide to building a real business from scratch. We do not do theory for theory's sake. Everything we cover is practical, real world, and designed to help you actually move forward. Before we go any further, if you have been watching this series and finding it useful, I want to ask you to do one thing. Subscribe if you have not already, and share this episode with one person you know who is trying to build something. It takes 5 seconds and it genuinely helps this content reach people who need it. Now let us get into it. In episode 1, we talked about what a business actually is. In episode 2, we talked about how to find a business idea that works. In episode 3, we talked about how to test and validate that idea before spending any money. Today, we go deeper into something that connects all of those episodes together. Because even if you have a great idea and you have validated it, if you do not know exactly who you are building it for, you will struggle to market it, struggle to sell it, and struggle to grow it. Today, we are talking about your customer. Specifically, how to define exactly who your ideal customer is, how to understand them so deeply that your product or service feels like it was made just for them, and how to find where they are so you can reach them. This is one of the most important episodes in the entire series. Let us go. Let me start with a question. Imagine you are standing in a crowded market. Thousands of people are walking past your stall, and you start shouting at the crowd in general, "Come buy from me. I sell good things. Everyone will like it." How many people do you think will stop? Very few. Because when you speak to everyone, you connect with no one. There is nothing specific enough to grab anyone's attention. There is no reason for any particular person to feel like you are speaking directly to them. Now imagine instead you say this: "Hey, are you a working mother who never has time to cook dinner on weekdays?" Suddenly, a very specific group of people in that crowd turns their head. Those people feel seen, they feel like you understand their life, and they are far more likely to stop and listen. That is the power of knowing exactly who your customer is. Here is a concept I want you to understand. In business, we call this your target market. Your target market is the specific group of people who are most likely to buy what you are selling because they have the problem you solve, they are able and willing to pay for a solution, and they can actually be reached. Now, here is where most beginners go wrong. They describe their target market as something like, "My product is for everyone," or "My service is for anyone who wants to make money," or "This is for all young people." Those are not target markets. Those are wishes. A real target market is specific. It has a shape. You can describe the person. You can picture them. You can tell me what they do on a Tuesday morning, what they worry about at night, and what they would be willing to pay to make a problem in their life go away. Let me give you a real example to show the difference. Imagine two people both starting a fitness coaching business. Person A says their target market is people who want to get fit. That is about 3 billion people on Earth. How do you reach them? What do you say to them? What platform do they use? What price point works for them? You cannot answer any of those questions because the group is too broad. Person B says their target market is women between the ages of 30 and 45 who have had children in the last 5 years, have a desk job, feel their energy levels have dropped significantly since having kids, and want to get back into a consistent exercise routine without spending hours at a gym. Now you can answer every question. You know what she reads, what social media she uses, what she worries about, what language to use to speak to her, what price she can likely afford, and what she needs to hear to feel confident spending money on a solution. Person A is trying to boil the ocean. Person B has a real business. Here is the principle: the more specific you are about who you serve, the easier everything becomes. Marketing becomes easier because you know where to find them and what to say. Sales becomes easier because your message resonates directly with their situation. Product development becomes easier because you are building for a real human being, not a theoretical crowd. I want you to hear this clearly. Niching down does not shrink your market, it sharpens your aim, and a sharp aim converts far better than a wide one. Think about brands you already know and trust. Nike does not market to everyone who has feet. They market to athletes and people who see themselves as athletes. Apple does not market to everyone who uses technology. They market to people who value design, simplicity, and premium quality. Dove does not market to everyone who showers. They market to women who want to feel real, natural, and comfortable in their skin. Every great brand knows exactly who it is talking to, and so must you. Now we get practical. How do you actually figure out who your ideal customer is? There is a tool that marketers and businesses all over the world use to do this. It is called a customer profile, or sometimes a customer persona or buyer persona. It is simply a detailed description of your ideal customer, written as if they were a real, specific person. And building this profile is one of the most valuable things you will ever do for your business. So let us build one together right now. There are two layers to a customer profile. The first layer is demographics. Demographics are the factual, measurable characteristics of a person. The second layer is psychographics. Psychographics are the emotional, behavioral, and psychological characteristics of a person. Most beginners only think about demographics. The businesses that really connect with their customers go deeper into psychographics. Let me walk you through both. Starting with demographics. Age. How old is your ideal customer? Not a range of 60 years, a realistic, specific range. Are they 20 to 30? 35 to 50? This matters because different age groups have different needs, different incomes, different platforms they use, and different ways they make buying decisions. Gender. This does not apply to every business, but for many it does. If your product is specifically designed for or most naturally used by a particular gender, acknowledge that honestly. Location. Where does your customer live? Are they in a city or a rural area? Are they in a specific country or region? Are they in a particular type of neighborhood? Location affects what they can access, what they can afford, and how they prefer to buy. Income level. This is critical. What is the approximate income or financial situation of your ideal customer? This tells you what price range is realistic. A person earning a modest salary and a person earning a high professional income have very different spending thresholds, even if they have the same problem. Occupation. What do they do for a living? Are they a student, a professional, a business owner, a stay at home parent, a tradesperson? Occupation affects their schedule, their stressors, their income, and how they think about spending money. Education level. This affects the language you use in your marketing, not in a condescending way, but in a practical way. The words and explanations that resonate with a recent graduate are different from those that resonate with someone who left school early and built a trade. Now, the second layer, psychographics. Goals and aspirations. What does your customer want their life to look like? What are they working towards? What do they dream about? Understanding their goals helps you position your product as a bridge between where they are and where they want to be. Pain points and frustrations. What keeps them up at night? What do they complain about to their friends? What problem makes their daily life harder, more stressful, or more expensive? This is where your product or service needs to live, right in the middle of their pain. Values. What matters most to them? Is it family, financial security, status, freedom, health, community? When your brand reflects the values of your customer, the connection becomes emotional, not just transactional. And emotional connections are far more powerful than logical ones. Fears. What are they afraid of? What outcome do they want to avoid? For example, a person starting a small business might fear wasting money on something that does not work. If your product can address that fear directly, you have a very strong selling point. Buying behavior. How do they prefer to buy? Do they research extensively before purchasing? Do they buy on impulse? Do they need social proof, such as reviews or recommendations from people they trust? Do they prefer to buy in person or online? Let me put this all together with a real example. Imagine you are starting a tutoring service for secondary school students preparing for major exams. Your demographic might look like this: parents aged 35 to 50, living in urban or suburban areas, working in professional jobs, earning a middle to upper middle income, with children between 15 and 18 years old who are preparing for high stakes exams. Your psychographic profile might look like this. These parents are highly motivated by their child's academic success. They worry about their child falling behind or not getting into a good university or college. They feel guilty that their long working hours mean they cannot help their child study themselves. They value education deeply and see it as a direct path to a better life for their child. They are willing to spend money on this if they believe the service is credible and effective. They look for social proof they want to hear from other parents whose children improved before they commit. Now, notice what happened. You went from a vague idea of parents of teenagers to a specific, feeling, breathing human being with real worries and real motivations. You can now write a marketing message that speaks directly to their guilt, their aspirations for their child, and their desire for credibility. You can find them on parent Facebook groups, school WhatsApp groups, and neighborhood community platforms. You can price at a level that matches their income. You can offer testimonials from other parents to address their need for social proof. Everything becomes clearer, everything becomes more targeted, and targeted always outperforms broad. Now that you know who your customer is, we need to talk about how to find them and how to understand them even more deeply. Because here is something important. Your customer profile is not something you create once, put in a drawer, and forget about. It is a living document. It gets sharper the more you learn. And the only way to learn is to go out and actually find your customers and listen to them. Here is how to do that. The first method is called direct research. Go and talk to real people who match your customer profile, not to sell them anything, just to understand their world. Ask them about the problem your business solves. Ask what they currently do about it. Ask what a good solution looks like to them. Ask what would make them trust a business enough to spend money with it. We covered this in episode 3 when we talked about validation. But the difference now is that you are not just testing whether the problem exists. You are gathering the language your customer uses to describe their own situation, because that language is gold. It is the exact language you will use in your marketing. Here's a real example of why this matters. A man starting a financial coaching business assumed his customers would respond to language about wealth building and investment strategies. But when he actually spoke to the people he wanted to serve, he found that they did not think of themselves as people interested in wealth. They described their situation using words like, I just want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, or I never feel like I have enough, or I want to stop stressing about money every month. When he changed his marketing language to reflect what his customers actually said, his inquiries tripled. Same service, same price, different language. The result was completely different. The second method is online observation. Go to the places online where your target customer spends time and read what they say. If your customer is a small business owner, go to small business forums, Facebook groups, Reddit communities, and LinkedIn comment sections. Read the questions they ask, read the complaints they post, read what they celebrate and what they fear. You will come away with a masterclass in what your customer cares about completely free, completely unfiltered, and completely honest because they are not talking to you, they are talking to each other. The third method is to study your competitors' customers. Go to the social media pages, websites, and review platforms of businesses that already serve a similar customer. Read the reviews, both the positive and the negative ones. The positive reviews tell you what customers value most. The negative reviews tell you what is missing in the current market. Both of those insights are directly useful for your own positioning. For example, if you read 10 negative reviews of a competitor's tutoring service and 8 of them complain that the tutors were inconsistent and hard to communicate with, you now know that reliability and communication are major pain points in that market. If you can position your service as the one that solves exactly those problems, you have a competitive advantage built entirely from listening. The fourth method is to use social media analytics. If you already have any form of social media presence, even a small one, the analytics tools available on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube will show you who is actually engaging with your content, their ages, their locations, their other interests. This real data is often more valuable than any assumption you started with. Now, once you have found your customers, the goal is to go where they already are. If your customer is a young professional, they are probably on LinkedIn and Instagram. If your customer is a stay at home parent, they are probably in WhatsApp community groups and Facebook groups. If your customer is a student, they are probably on TikTok and YouTube. If your customer is a small business owner in your local area, they might be reachable through local business events, church networks, or community groups. The point is this: do not try to bring your customer to you until you understand where they already are. Go to them first, meet them on their turf, speak their language, build trust. Then bring them into your world. Everything we have talked about today becomes real when you actually sit down and do the exercise. So I'm going to walk you through it right now, step by step. Pause the video whenever you need to write things down. This exercise is worth doing properly. Step 1. Write down your business idea and the problem it solves. Keep it simple, 1 or 2 sentences. For example, I am starting a meal delivery service for busy professionals. The problem I solve is that working people do not have time to cook healthy meals during the week. Step 2. Write down who experiences this problem most intensely. Think about the type of person for whom this problem is not just a minor inconvenience, but a genuine daily frustration. Who feels the pain of this problem most acutely? In our meal delivery example, it is probably someone who works long hours, values eating well, has tried cooking at home but keeps failing to keep up with it, and earns enough to pay for a solution but is currently wasting money on unhealthy takeaway food instead. Step 3. Build the demographic profile. Write down the estimated age range, gender if relevant, location, income level, occupation, and education level of this person. Be specific. If you find yourself writing very broad ranges, push yourself to narrow them. You can always expand later. It is much harder to go from broad to specific than from specific to broad. Step 4. Build the psychographic profile. Write down their goals, their pain points, their values, their fears, and how they typically make buying decisions. Go deep here. The more you understand their inner world, the more powerfully you will be able to speak to them. Step 5. Give your ideal customer a name. This sounds like a small thing, but it is surprisingly powerful. When you give your ideal customer a name, they become real to you. Every time you write a piece of marketing, create a product feature, or set a price, you will ask yourself, would this work for this specific person? That question leads to better decisions. For example, if your ideal customer is a 38-year-old female marketing manager who is exhausted after long days, loves food but has no time to cook, and feels guilty about relying on fast food, you might call her Sarah. Now, whenever you create content, you ask yourself, would Sarah scroll past this? Would Sarah click on this? Would Sarah pay this price? Would Sarah trust this brand? Step 6. Write a one paragraph summary of your ideal customer. Pull everything together into a short paragraph that describes this person as if they were a real human being you know personally. Read it back. Does it feel real? Does it feel specific? If you could hand this description to a stranger and they could picture exactly who you mean, you have done it right. Let me give you a complete example using our meal delivery service. Sarah is a 35-year-old marketing manager living in a mid sized city. She earns a comfortable income but works 10-hour days and often gets home after 8 in the evening. She genuinely enjoys healthy food and used to cook regularly, but since her promotion 2 years ago, she has been relying almost entirely on expensive restaurant deliveries that are either unhealthy or leave her feeling like she is wasting money. She feels guilty about this, but has not found a solution that fits her schedule. She values quality, consistency, and transparency about ingredients. She is willing to pay a reasonable premium for something she trusts. She makes buying decisions based on reviews, word of mouth from colleagues, and Instagram aesthetics. She is not looking for the cheapest option. She is looking for the option that makes her feel like she is taking care of herself without adding more work to her already full life. That is a customer profile. Every product decision, every marketing message, every pricing choice for that meal delivery service should be made with Sarah in mind. If it speaks to Sarah, you are on the right track. If it does not, go back and rethink it. That is a wrap on episode 4. The single most important thing I want you to take away from today is this: your customer is not an abstract concept. They are a real human being with real feelings, real frustrations, and real reasons for making decisions. The businesses that win are the ones that understand their customer more deeply than anyone else in the market. You now have the tools to do exactly that. Here is your homework. Using the 6 steps I just walked you through, build a full customer profile for your business idea: demographics, psychographics, a name, and a one paragraph summary. Write it down. Not in your head on paper or in a document where you can refer back to it. Then take that profile and go and find 5 real people who match it. Have conversations with them, listen for the language they use, look for the gaps between what they want and what currently exists. What you discover will sharpen everything you build from this point forward. And if you found this episode useful, and I genuinely hope you did, there are 2 things I want to ask you to do right now. First, subscribe to this channel if you have not already. Every episode in this series builds on the last, and you do not want to miss what is coming. Second, leave a comment below and tell me who your ideal customer is. Describe them in one sentence. I read every comment, and I want to hear about the business you are building. In episode 5, we are going to take everything you now know, your idea, your validated opportunity, and your customer profile, and we are going to build a simple, one-page business plan that actually works. No 50-page documents, no MBA jargon, just a clear, practical plan you can start using immediately. That episode is going to bring everything together. I will see you there. Take care of yourself and take care of that idea.